Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan, all kind of various organizations, presidents, medal for Sanskrit, all these kind of things. Maybe there has to be a minimum requirement that the person you're going to honor for a particular language ought to know the language, be able to speak in the language, have something published, written in that language. Otherwise, they are not considered up to par. That would be a good thing to do, and I would certainly support that.
As regards the question raised by Dr. Leela, I may mention here that in the Swadeshi Indology conference, we had a full day of discussions in Sanskrit by Sanskrit Pandits raising the issues raised by Sheldon Pollock. So the questions have all been in Sanskrit. You may be interested to look into that. So for many of you, it will be an experience to listen to how debates go on in Sanskrit. So please go to Swadeshi Indology website. So you will find that there are videos of a number of scholars who have spoken in Sanskrit itself. It's called Sadas, and the whole Sadas proceedings, they are also going to be published in book form. So it's still an ongoing process. It will be one of the 8 volumes mentioned by Rajeev ji. So
can I just say one thing? If you want to, if you want to stay connected and get involved, you go to Infinity Foundation, one word, infinityfoundation.com. Infinityfoundation.com, then India is one page with that. Infinityfoundation.com, and there you will see our videos. It says join the discussion. You click, you can join our discussion group. You can hit the donate button if you feel like. If you want to watch videos, there is something called, we have a Swadeshi Indology. It's called Swadeshi Indology on YouTube.
Yeah.
On YouTube. So you go to Swadeshi Indology and you will get that. If you go to the YouTube channel Rajeev Malhotra .official, because there's many Rajeev Malhotras, but Rajeev Malhotra .official, that is my channel, and we have 800-900 videos on it, and we are putting up 1 or more videos every week. These are some ways you can stay connected with us.
By the way, Rajeev Malhotra has 4 million followers. So all over the world. 5 million followers all over the world. And some of these proceedings of this function also, some portions of that are likely to appear. Even yesterday and even tomorrow, he has had some discussions with some of the young scholars, bright scholars. So, and they will also appear in the Swadeshi Indology website. You are welcome to view the website. And those of you who are interested in making any donation, so you can go to the Swadeshi Indology website. You will get the full details. For sheer shortage of time, I had to cut short the panel discussion. So we will now move to the question and answer session. So where the members of the audience, especially the young ones, are welcome to ask questions. So and they will be answered by Rajeev ji. So those who want to ask questions, they may come here. So please stand near this.
I have one question, sir. When I need to understand as a non-literary person, I'm from a technical background, I'm not from a literary background. The battle for Sanskrit or the breaking of India, the forces which is working against Indian interest in US or in Western countries, what are their motives and why they are only targeting India, number one. And if I see militarily and economically, Chinese are more competitive to US economy or Western economy. Are the similar tendencies or similar forces acting against China also? Is China how countering that? Will it be a lesson for us? Can you please throw light on these two things? Thank you very much.
What I'll do, it's more efficient to answer them together. So I'm writing down the first question: why attack India? Okay. And how China responds. Okay, so I'm just give me quick phrases. I'll write down 10 and then I'll answer all of them. That's better.
Okay. Rajeev ji, I'm Lieutenant Murthy, Indian Navy retired. When I read Captain Ajit Vadakai's blog, who is the #1 blogger in the world, 58 crore followers, he has written very clearly Sanskrit has got mantras, have got magic isotopes embedded, and there's a lot of things which we have lost down the line. Many things which are added out there, and regarding what Srimati Leela ji presented, the anti-India forces, who's funding them? It is Rothschild family who's funding them. They have ruled India for the last 400 years through 3 East India companies, British, Dutch and East India. And they're the ones who are backed by the collegiate judiciary and the local giants like Rajya Sabha members. And why are we not addressing them? Why are we not addressing Rothschild family, who's the bane of India and the degrading of Indian culture?
Hello sir, I'm Sharanya. I want to ask you, in light of the modern, modified version of our Indian history books that we study in our schools. So as youngsters, though we know that what we are studying, that the Sultans, the Mughals or the British who invaded India actually did not give us like lot of things to our culture. Our culture is already rich. So everywhere it's mentioned that they made our culture rich. So how do we as youngsters tell our peers who are actually ignorant of the truth that actually what we are studying is wrong, and what we are studying is wrong and we need to study it only for the sake of marks and passing the exams?
My question is actually similar to hers. We have a lot of biased facts in our history books, and is there any organized platform or program by Infinity Foundation so that we youngsters can do our part of Purva Paksha?
Hello, Namaskara. Namaste, sir. So actually, few months back, with the guidance of Dr. Shiv sir and few other people of our foundation, I actually wrote a paper called "Are NCERT Textbooks Biased Against Hindu Indian History?" So my question is, after the paper, we actually found that it is actually biased against our Hindu Indian history. We have many findings regarding that. I hope that paper has actually reached you. And my first question is, why are Indians not fighting against that? They are simply accepting the things and going with that. They don't know to what extent that will be affecting their their children's, their mentality. So why are not Indians facing against that? And regarding that, one last question is, to write those textbooks, authors from foreign will come and write NCERT textbooks. Why are Indians not? Is it that NCERT not allowing Indian authors to write the textbooks, or is there any?
Namaste Rajeev, I represent vernacular media, especially TV channel, and the narratives here are so poorly structured. I want to change the narrative when it comes to if it is cow slaughtering, if it is dharma, if it is culture, if it is society. I really want to change the narrative, but the moment I say it's not like that, I will be branded as BJP. How to overcome this dilemma, and what should be my Purva Paksha? How can I go further?
ನಮಸ್ತೆ, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಅಂತ, ಹುಲ್ಮನೆ ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರೀತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, actually I came with a question, how we tap our religious stages where our gurus are there, they want to take up these challenges and do something, and you answered in your speech already, and I offer myself as one of the person who can work in the team. And I have already done a lot of work like your speeches and interviews translated into Kannada and uploading along with the video itself as a comment. And I am 61 but I work like a 60. I am offering myself to be a part of the team. Thank you.
How I basically want to challenge Western scholars when they're saying that Shastras lack creativity, because if you mentioned that Western scholars are stating that Shastras lack creativity. If you look at Kashmir Shaivism and the Spanda Sutras, basically the whole theory of Spanda is that the universe is a creative, the creative outcome of Lord Shiva's creativity. So creativity is a part of Indian Shastras, and how can Western scholars say that Indian Shastras don't have creativity?
Namaste Rajeev, this is Anand. The question is regarding the textbooks itself. It's just a continuation to the what the young kids have asked you. Is there any legal procedure that we can fight against the history, the Max Muller history we are studying in textbooks today? I mean, we have seen different books from different authors saying it is false, and they have proved it also. But why is there any legal procedure that we can fight towards that particular thing? Thank you so much.
Namaskara Rajeev. This is Ashwini Kumar. I'm into e-learning. My question is, or rather I would like to have your view, an optimistic view, as to when our collective social consciousness can elevate to such a level where language and culture can be removed from the dark side of politics.
So, yeah, I'm personally a great fan of Noel Harari. I've read his *Sapiens*, Brief History of Mankind, and there seems to be a deliberate ignorance towards Indian history and culture. He has not at all covered in. Does he also belong to the same sector group that you're fighting?
Good evening, sir. My name is Manasi, and I did my graduation at King's College London, and my final dissertation was Religious Soft Power in Indian Foreign Policy. My question is with regard to, absolutely, I was going to send it to you. My question is, language and religion have been one of the most effective tools of soft power, which have never been given their due because it goes against the Western concept of secularism. India is at a point where it can be changed. Are we strong enough to take on the Western concept? And if we are taking on the responsibility of changing this narrative, my question is, how do we go about it more responsibly so we don't see the kind of nonsense we are seeing today?
So, I would like to know your view on Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Sam Harris fighting the postmodernists in US.
My name is Anand Tirtha Pandurangi, and my question is, in India's history, there's been a constant Uttara Paksha and Purva Paksha. There's been a lot of conflict, inner conflict within us, and this has resulted in, which was basically for a pursuit of truth, but that from outside perspective, it has resulted in invitation for outside invaders on a brute force or through an economic mode. So, how do we find a common ground within this Uttara Paksha and Purva Paksha within ourselves, and how do we reduce this Arjuna complex that our Hindu narrative or in Indian education system has constant?
I'm not sure I understand. The problem is Purva Paksha internally or with outside?
Internally, there's always conflict between each sect, between our own communities or sect, or this causes a conflict which can be seen as an invitation for outside invaders, either through brute force or economically, from economic mode. And how do we reduce this Arjuna complex, self-doubt?
Two very small questions. One is, we are speaking so much about Purva Paksha, about the great Englishman whom we were talking. If I want to do my Purva Paksha, should I read the book first or should I try it on my own? Second thing is, the Purva Paksha, should I try doing it on my own or should I go ahead reading the book first? The book which is written, yeah. And the second thing is, if I have to talk about something down or up, I should know the subject very well. So do we say that they know Vedas and Shastras perfectly that they can comment on it? Only if you're perfect with something you can comment.
Question to you is regarding 2019 elections. Why I'm talking about 2019 elections is that in BJP manifesto, what should be the essential suggestions by you towards freeing Hindu temples or freeing Hindu temples in order to fund projects like Infinity Foundation? There seems to be a policy paralysis within the ruling party. So what is your suggestion to the manifesto so that the Hindu narrative is changed in the education system?
Charity approval organizations, if you register there, the companies equally match your donations each employees. So do you see any negative side of it? I have been working in registering some of our organizations in such institutes.
Thank you very much for all your questions. I know by the exuberance and enthusiasm of the audience, so 10 more hours will not be sufficient for the question and answer session. So I have to intervene and constrain. See, we were supposed to have had our question and answer session between 7:15 and 7:30. Now it's already 7:35. Therefore, I give Rajeev ji 20 minutes to answer as many questions of these as possible, not more, please.
So then it means that I should start and nobody should interfere. Good. So I have 18 questions. I'll do as many as I can. Some I remember better, clearer. And some of these questions are such that one question alone will take all the time, so I have to give you quick answers. So why are they attacking India and what is China's response? The inter-civilizational dialogue is not limited to India. People are writing about Islam, Islam is writing about others, China is writing about them, back and forth. It's just that India has a very weak home team in this international encounter, partly because we are very inbred and discussing all among ourselves only, partly because our people are not foreign travel, haven't had the experience to understand what's going on, partly because some of our best scholars are bought off, that is true. Some of our best traditional scholars are on the payroll of these international organizations. So for a number of reasons, we are not responding the way China is. China controls China discourse. It's mainly all the major conferences and journals on China studies are in Mandarin. The Chinese government and Chinese corporates are very involved in funding and sponsoring the proper study of China. So the kind of work that Infinity Foundation is doing, let me be very honest with you, if I were a Chinese doing it in China, I would not be going around looking for support. They would come to me offering me support. A lot of Muslims have said that if you would become a Muslim, there will be so many Arab sheikhs who would put all this support behind you. But it is a shame that in our culture we are not giving support to such an initiative. So this is why we are vulnerable, and this is why China is not, because the people have their act together, the government has their act together, and we don't. So it's not that we are the only ones being targeted, it's just that we are not defending ourselves the way other people are. Second is, who funds the Breaking India forces, and why don't you address Rothschilds as if, it's my duty to address all the problems. So I will go right back and say, the person you quoted who has 58 crore views, why doesn't he address Rothschild? Why am I supposed to do all the work? So the point is, I have a lot of people angry at me, some people shouting at me, why don't you do this, sir? Why don't you do that, sir? So as if I'm sitting around all day long with nothing else to do. I get up at 4 in the morning. I work very, very hard. I'm trying my best to do a lot of things that I'm able to do where my research is most fitting. I have 15 more books to finish. 15 more books to finish where I've done the research. I spent a lot of time going around the world gathering data, and it's better for me to finish the research I've already started. And I'm not a made to order outsourcing, somebody demand to go do this and I go running around doing it. I'm not an outsourcing of your problems that I should do. You got to take on some problems also. So you take it would be different if you said, we are studying Rothschilds, we are going to do the Swadeshi Indology on Rothschilds, are you willing to come and participate and be a speaker? I'd say yes. You take the lead and I will come. Why don't you do this? Okay. I've given my answer. You take the initiative. There are certain things I lead, you follow. Certain things you lead, I'll follow. There was this American famous guy, Ross Perot. I don't know, you guys are probably not old enough. He became a presidential candidate. But his claim to fame is that he started outsourcing. Before there was outsourcing to India, it was outsourcing within the United States. And he started EDS, the company called EDS, which is a now big outsourcing company, became a billionaire. So he became a presidential candidate. And at one time, the company I worked in was thinking of acquiring EDS. We didn't do so. But I got to know him. So we used to go to his headquarters in Texas, and this very Texan, tough, Kshatriya type personality. He had this big desk, empty, nothing on the desk, but one plaque with his slogan. So that's really an important slogan because it's got nothing else. So that slogan said, lead, follow, or get out of the way. And that was such a powerful thing. And at the bottom it said, by Genghis Khan. I don't know if that's true. But that was his motto. He said, look, you come and tell me, I'll say, okay, you are in charge, go lead it. Then you have to lead it. If you don't go on giving proposals that I am supposed to do. Or, I am doing enough projects, join one of my projects as a follower. Be a good follower. If you can do neither of these, get out of the way. So that's what I want to tell you. So let's study where the And also the international people breaking India forces are able to succeed in India, not in China, because they get Indian collaborators, they don't get Chinese collaborators.